Okay, now, Juanita, tell me your name.
Juanita with a J.
Is that
J-U-A.
Is that your first name?
Yes. J-U-A-N-I-T-A. Maiden name was Widdig. W-I-D-D-I-G. And married name is Lane.
What's your middle name?
Edna
E-D-N-A. When were you born?
January 22.
January what?
8.
Keep this with your stuff. This says that you were videotaped on this date, and you are on tape number 16.
All right.
And this tape will be in the Portsmouth Public Library on the shelf, so that 100 years from now, your great nieces and nephews and everybody can watch it.
All right. Thank you.
We ask you a few questions. You've already told me your name and your date of birth. Where were you born?
Here in Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, Ohio. And, of course, you're at Hillview Retirement Center now, aren't you?
Yes.
What was your address before then?
2673 Norman Drive. And you mean even before or after Portsmouth?
Before you came to this place, before you came to this facility.
I lived on Norman Drive.
Where were you before then?
Way before that, we bought a house up on Hillview Drive.
Okay. And what was your occupation?
Registered nurse.
Okay. Where did you work?
South Memorial Hospital in Mount Clemens, Michigan.
Okay. And how much education do you have? Of course, you went to nursing school.
I have my degree in nursing.
Okay. Are you married, single, divorced, widowed, separated?
Widowed.
Okay. How many children do you have?
Have to stop and count. 3 boys.
And what are their names?
Kennard Jr. is the oldest one. And Harold.
Did you say it was Kennard or Kennard?
Kennard.
Kennard
N-A-R-D, right. And he's a junior. And Harold Lane is the middle one. And Robert is the youngest.
Okay. Do they have children?
Oh, yes.
Start with Kennard.
He has 2 boys.
What are their names? Didn't know there'd be a test, did you?
No. Trey and Blair.
Okay.
And he was Kennard the third, so they call him Trey. And Blair is the other children.
Now your middle son, what's his name?
Harold.
He has children?
And he has children. He has a boy. And he has 2 boys. He has a boy 4 years old and a boy older than that, but I can't remember his age.
Okay. Remember their names?
Blair.
I mean, the middle boy has 2 boys. The middle boy, your middle son has 2 boys.
Right.
And what are those boys' names?
One is named Blair, and the other one is Nicholas.
Okay. Now your youngest son.
He has a girl that is...
There's a girl in there, finally.
Finally got 2 of them. She's 12. She'll be a teenager.
Yeah.
And her name is Anna Grace. And her brother is Fred. And he's 18 months younger. And they have a new child. It's a girl. And her name is...
She's too new to even have a name.
No, my senior moments catch up with me.
Okay.
Just here.
Okay. Well, if you think of the name, later.
Okay.
Now, I'd like to have a little genealogical line. That's why I asked for your children, their children's names.
I see.
Now let's go in the other direction. What was your husband's name? Kennard?
Kennard Senior.
Okay. And what were his parents' names?
Clifford, Lane, and Winnie.
Winnie. Now, you know
It was not Winter. It was not Winterford. It was Winnie.
Winnie. You have to know their parents. Clifford and Winnie. Okay. What were your parents' names?
Fred and Martha Widdig.
What was Fred's parents' names? Your grandparents.
You got me there.
Okay. Now, were you in the service? Military?
Yes.
Were you in the Army, Navy, or
Army?
And
Army Air
you enlisted in the Army?
Yes.
When did you enlist?
Well, you want a little story before?
Sure.
I was working at South Memorial Hospital at
What did they call it then?
General.
General.
And, of course, the war was going on, and I had married in November of 43, and my husband was overseas. And they started threatening the nurses that they were going to draft them if they needed them. And right away I said, I'm not going to be drafted. I enlisted. I was sent to Fort Knox, Kentucky for my basic training. And fortunately or unfortunately, when they called out the names of people who were going to stay at Fort Knox, Kentucky, my name was in the group. So I never left Fort Knox, Kentucky.
For the whole time you were in the service?
And that was a little less than a year.
Okay.
Because when the war ended, they got rid of as many married nurses as they could. We weren't really needed.
You sort of went in right at the tail end of the war?
Right at the tail end of it, yes. Yes.
I know the name of the hospital there, Ireland Army Hospital. Is that it?
No, it wasn't it. It was on the base. It was Fort Knox.
Fort Knox Hospital.
Yeah.
Okay, they must have named it because I worked there.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I was a medical supply officer at Ireland Army Hospital, Fort Knox, Kentucky. And I say it was Ireland because they must have renamed it, obviously, after.
Well, see, there were so many temporary buildings went up. Several of them were called cantonments.
Okay.
And that was a part of the hospital, too. And because I was married, and we were on 12-hour shifts, I asked for the night shift because that left the single girls freer. And I was tied head down anyway.
Sure, that's something to do.
Yes,
That's
it did.
obligation.
So I worked a 12-hour shift on 3 in the morning at pneumonia wards.
Were you getting soldiers in from overseas?
Not a whole lot overseas, but see, that was a tank outfit, as you know, and there was so much pneumonia. Those boys would work all day in those tanks and then come out in the cold air, and I don't know whether they had it like that. There was a hall and 3 fingers off of this hall, and each one of these held 50 soldiers. And so I was over all 3 of them, but I had mighty good help with the men.
What was the mortality rate for a problem like that?
Well, it wasn't bad at all. I can remember one case of a young boy that we had as a patient that was only 18 years old, and he seemed even younger than that. And many a night I sat up with him because I didn't think we were going to keep him. But I didn't have to have a bed for a whole time to stay.
Oh. So you were there 9 months. The war ended. They said, You go home.
Scoot, yeah.
Okay.
They got rid of them. Some of the married nurses stayed. If they didn't have a family or anything, there was a few of them that stayed. But we were free to come home if we wanted to.
You had did you live on the coast there? They had the little community of Radcliffe. Remember that name?
No,
that was a little town around Fort Knox.
No, I don't think I was ever off the base the whole time I was there.
Did you get down there by train?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And you must have been inducted in where did you go take the oath? Where were you sworn in?
At Fort Knox.
That's Fort Knox. Okay.
No, I beg your pardon. It was down here in Kentucky. What was the camp down here?
Thomas. Camp Thomas is across from Cincinnati.
That may have been it. It went Fort Thomas.
Now, what was your rank?
Second lieutenant.
When you were discharged, you were second lieutenant also?
Second lieutenant.
Did you like doing what you were doing? Did you enjoy the service?
Yes, I did. Yes.
You said your husband was overseas?
Yes.
Where was he?
In Germany, in European theater. And they had pretty well washed things up over there, when they got into the Pacific War. And he was packed, and his stuff was already in San Francisco.
Ready for the Pacific.
Ready for the Pacific.
Well, he must have been with, what was he in?
He was in the Signal Corps.
Signal. What was his rank?
At that time, he was a first lieutenant. And he went in for 26 years and ended up a lieutenant colonel.
I thought you might have.
No, never. Not even from the first. No way.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell me about this? I mean, it was, let me ask you this. Where were you? What were you doing when you heard the Pearl Harbor was attacked?
I was in bed asleep.
You were?
Yes.
Did somebody wake you up?
Yes.
What tell me about it?
Well, there was a lot of noise going on. People were shooting off fireworks. You mean when the war ended?
No,
when it first started?
December 7th, 1941.
Oh, beg your pardon. I'm way ahead of myself. I was working nights at the old General.
The General.
And was home. And my parents woke me.
They actually woke you up to tell you this?
Yes.
Everybody understood that it was pretty serious.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. And, of course, with my husband being overseas anyway, they knew he was going to be in it.
Was he in the service before the war started, or what was
No. He, I'm trying to think where he told me he took his basic training, because we weren't married then. He was a warrant officer, junior grade when we married. I don't remember the process at all.
Now, where was he when he was told about Pearl Harbor?
He was in New York, and it so happened that he was home on leave.
Were you and he married at that time when Pearl Harbor was attacked? You were?
Yes.
And he was in their army then?
Yes, he was already in the army when we married.
And he was in New York?
Yes, but he was transferred to, I can't even remember where he went. He went with an all-Negro outfit, white officers and Negro men. And,
what did he say about that experience?
Didn't seem to bother him much. Didn't seem to bother him. At least he didn't say to me that it bothered him.
Did he go to France?
No, he went to France.
And did he stay with the all-Negro unit?
Yes.
Yes. So he rose up through the ranks with that particular unit?
Yes. Well, of course, after the war is over, let's see, when the war was over, he was captain. Yeah. And then he made major. And, of course, we traveled around a lot.
I was going to say, did you travel around a lot?
Yes.
Transferred to
Maryland, Fort Riley, Kansas, Army station in Virginia. Can't remember the name of that.
Germany?
Oh, yeah. He was sent to Germany first, and the family and I followed him. In fact, our youngest son was born in Germany. Another station overseas that we joined in was on Guam.
On Guam. How long were you on Guam?
2.5 years.
What's to do on Guam?
Swim in the ocean. Swim in the ocean, that's about it.
And then the next day, swim in the ocean.
Swim in the ocean. Christmas, we swam in the ocean. New Year's Eve, we swam in the ocean.
When was he discharged? In the 60s?
I would say yes, but not the date.
Did he go to Korea?
Yes.
The Korean War?
He went to Korea while we were on Guam. See, when we were on Guam, the Korean War started.
I see.
And we were frozen. We couldn't get off the island. And he was with the Army Air Corps at that time. And he had to fly to Korea like that.
Was he a pilot?
No.
He was just in the Army Signal Corps?
Yes. And if you've been a soldier, you know what crypto is. Well, that was what he was in.
So how long was he in Korea? I mean, he would go in and
Well,
out?
he had in and out, no longer than a week at a time. And
Never sneaking into North Korea?
he said very little about his experience.
Then did he go to Vietnam?
No.
Might have been a little bit.
No.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, like you want to tell me about?
I don't know what it'd be. I can't remember what you're asking.
Well, you just traveled a lot, around a lot. You were in the Army yourself, and of course, kind of stayed in the Army. You married an Army person.
Yeah, he stayed in 26 years.
Did your boys go in the Army?
No.
They didn't want to do it?
No.
After being Army brats, they said this is enough.
That's it. But, all of them adjusted to it real well. I'm surprised, yeah. Because a lot of times, you move so much, just in mid-school year or something, it's hard, But they got along remarkably well.
Well, that's about all I have. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Not really.